Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Friday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico hanging out with you guys as usual. What's up, Rico?
Killer.
How's the week been?
So far, so good.
Big Red Brunch yesterday was good.
It was delicious.
The content was also good. The conversations were great.
Yeah, I guess that was the thing, too.
My goodness, Rico. What do you know? What are you going to do with it?
Not much.
Anyway, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951 as well. Okay, so we got a full show today. Gonna definitely preview. What are you eating, Rico? What are you?
I had like 4 Skittles in my hand. I wanted to finish them off before they started melting.
Okay, so anyway,
so you keep talking.
That's fine. I just see you leaning back, and I'm like, why are we not engaged in the program right now?
We are.
But now I know why. It's because you don't want the sound to come over the microphone, and I think a lot of us can appreciate that. I got a loaded show for you today. We're going to talk Husker football versus Purdue tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to talk a little Husker volleyball as they prepare for their match against Maryland this evening.
The Tortoise.
We are going to also have weekend picks as we usually do. Austin is out, but he has sent me his weekend picks.
As he
Strick will join us on the stream, I would assume, for the crossover as we get ready for On the Block. So once again, myself, I'll be filling in for Austin on the block today.
You know
from
that means
2
we
to
can't
4.
play music, right?
And we kind of need the music.
It's Strick's fault.
Should I just tell Strick not to join?
Tell him just to send his picks.
Send his picks?
Yeah.
Or I can even ask him his picks just in the first segment of
You could do that.
the On the Block. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that because we need the music.
I need it.
We have been accustomed to the music, and then we didn't have the music last week.
I felt
and
off.
it was very, very disgusting.
Weekend picks still unsponsored.
Yep, still unsponsored. But once again, 402-464-5685. We'll also be talking to Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska here at 1:30, just to preview Nebraska versus Purdue as well. All right, I want to talk about this first off because this is a really interesting statistic that I enjoy following when it's the college football season. And if people were listening yesterday a little bit, they know what this is. Stop rate.
You are a big stop rate guy.
All right, so stop rate. And because it feels like one of the more, I don't know, in terms of defense, like we get so enamored by this, like the rush defense numbers and the pass defense numbers, as well as like sacks and total yards allowed and stuff.
I feel like stop rate's better because you can get the yardage can be skewed, by end game, whatever happens, or, some big plays here and there. But stop rate, really, that's what a defense should hang their hat on, because it's how many times you stopping an offense. Like maybe you're giving up, to something that we were looking up earlier today, the 97 defense and then the offense. Maybe you're giving up 200 yards passing, but you're not giving up a lot of touchdowns. You're not the drives that those teams have, a lot of passing yards on. They're ending not with touchdowns, maybe with field goals, maybe not even with field goals. They're turning the ball over or just turning it over on downs.
Well, we've seen it multiple times where Nebraska's defense has been kind of pushed up against a wall and either taken the small victory of forcing a field goal attempt, or even at times getting bailed out and helped out. Maybe helped out's the better word for it. Helped out with penalties on the opponent to then push them back out of field goal range. But Nebraska, for the most part, we've talked about it, hasn't done a bad job of not allowing compounding big plays and stuff like that. So Nebraska's defense, right? Where did they rank in terms of stop rate? And I wanted to get Rico's thoughts because yesterday I was kind of having the conversation with myself, but now that Rico's here, I definitely want to get his thoughts on a couple of teams because
Oh, you care about my thoughts?
of course, but I want to get him on a couple of teams because here's what's crazy is when you're in the Big Ten Conference, there's kind of this expectation that you're going to that you should be able to run the ball well and then play good defense. In the Big Ten Conference, how about this, Rico? 5 of the top 8 teams in terms of stop rate are Big Ten programs, right?
I mean, that makes sense.
Michigan is number 1, and we'll get into the numbers. Michigan is number 1. Penn State is number 2. Ohio State is 3. And then you have a Pac-12 school in UCLA, Duke, Georgia, and then Iowa and Wisconsin at 7 and 8.
So a part like listening to the teams that you're listing off and knowing a little bit about stop rate, I feel like we've got to throw in the caveat of, and I know we do this with every statistic, but the caveat of who they've played. Yeah. Because Michigan, their stop rate's going to be very high because they're playing teams that are far below them. Like you're one of the best teams in the nation, so a lot of teams are below you, but a lot of the teams that they have played or have been on their schedule so far early in this season, halfway through the season, have been far below Michigan standards. And also Big Ten offenses, especially the Big Ten West and certain schools in the Big Ten East, not the greatest. So the stop rate's going to be a little bit higher. But even then, again, it's still a very good statistic because it's showing, what you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, and so we got asked on the text line once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, and the Starter Heyman text line, what is stop rate? And so this is something that, the Athletic and Max Olson actually release these rankings every single week. But what is stop rate? So the Athletic's definition of it is the percentage of a defensive's drives that end in either a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs. So once again, the drive ends in a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs, right? Which, as Rico just said, is kind of like what your main goal is. Just get off the field without allowing points. So Michigan, and some of these numbers are just kind of mind-boggling at how good they are. And yes, while Michigan may be playing a cupcake schedule, now we're seeing enough. I think once again, like what we say about Nebraska's defense is that it's been consistent over 7 games of film, where now we can say the same thing is like Michigan's defense, although it's against maybe some lesser opponents, like they've now put together consistent showings through 7 or 8 games. And so Michigan, for example, through 8 games for the Wolverines, and it's crazy when you think about this, because the pressure that it takes off of your offense is astronomical.
Just to know that you have a defense that's not going to be allowing points means that even if you can take a few more chances, just because your defense is going to shut down or force a turnover on the other team's offense, and it allows you to maybe not have to rush things as much because look, they're not going to score. They're going to max out at 7-10 points. So we can take a couple more chances. We don't have to, rush to score the ball at some point to gain momentum to do whatever, because look, our defense is going to step up. They're going to step up to the occasion. They're not going to bow. They're going to stand up straight and hit this offense in the mouth.
So here's the thing. So through 81 drives that Michigan's defense has been on the field, they have forced either a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs on 89% of their defensive drives. They're allowing 0.58 points per drive. I mean, that is ridiculous.
Big Bird makes a good point, though. Michigan stop rate should be quite high with their sign stealing.
Hey, and I, if you were like me, you giggled at the whole sign about how TCU knew that they were stealing signs, so they used dummy signals, and TCU ended up beating the brakes off of Michigan in the CFP semis last year. But nonetheless, Michigan, though, 89% of their drives on defense have resulted in a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs.
That's crazy.
So then you go down lower, all right? So the next highest is Penn State, another Big East opponent. Through 6 games and 71 drives on defense, Penn State has forced a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs on 84.5% of their drives. Ohio State is next. Through 68 drives, They forced a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs on 83% of their drive. You're talking about 3 Big Ten schools there in the same division forcing or defenses getting off the field without allowing points more than 80% of the time. And I mean, so
that means
then
as an offense, you're only scoring.
Well, it's like 15% of the time.
15% of the time on any of these. That is ridiculous.
It makes it so much more difficult for an opponent to. I mean, they feel like points are even coming at a premium to an extent. I mean, already going into it, facing off against Michigan, Penn State, or Ohio State, but now, I mean, even more so.
You got 12 drives in a game. You're going to score maybe on one of those.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So,
and it's not even a touch. It could be just a field goal.
It could be just a field goal. It could be just a field goal. I mean, so you look at the way also that Ohio State and Penn State game was played, right? Through the first quarter, it was each team had one field goal. It was 3-3, right? And then Ohio State got a touchdown in the second quarter, and Penn State got a field goal. So it was 10-6 at the half between two teams. That if you look at their offensive numbers aren't bad. It's not like it was Ohio State playing Nebraska's offense, or that's not the case.
Those are two really good offenses. It's just that the defenses are.
We talk about the playmakers.
Can we say elite in this?
Well, I think so. When we're talking about these percentages, I think so.
These are two elite defenses going up against really good offenses.
Like we talk about the skill positions for not only Penn State but Ohio State all the time. It's the Marvin Harrisons, it's the Mika Ibukas, it's the Travion Hendersons when healthy. It's the Cade Stover at tight end. I mean, you can go down this list of really talented skill positions, really good offenses, but yet defense continues to travel. So then just a couple of the other just rankings. Iowa, for example. I mean, here's what's funny. Iowa doesn't have a whole lot of offensive drives, or that they have a lot of quick offensive drives, because their numbers on defensive drives are skyrocketed, which makes it even more impressive. Because I mentioned, so Michigan has had 81 drives on defense. Iowa has 104. There have been 104 possessions for Iowa on defense through let's see, 8 games. So here's this.
That's funny.
So this is what makes it even more impressive, to be honest, because it's even a bigger sample size.
Oh yeah, how bad your offense is that your defense is having that many drives against them, and it's still holding up.
7th in the country in this category. 7th in the country through 104 drives. Iowa is forcing a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs 76.9% of the time. Through 100, how about this? So through 104 defensive drives, this Iowa defense, is allowing 1.04 points per drive through 104.
So you know how we always say Nebraska's defense is on the field too much and they're getting tired, and that's why they give up.
Yeah, there you go.
Does Iowa's defense just kind of blow that notion out of the water for everybody else's teams?
Has to.
Like when you're sitting there and you're sitting back and you're like, wow, we would have won this game if the offense would have scored some more points, but would have stayed on the field. The defense got tired.
Yeah.
Iowa's defense is always on the field.
Always on the field.
And they're still not allowing points.
So, once again, before we wrap things up and get to Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska here. So, Nebraska, right? Where does Nebraska rank in this category?
Where are they at in stop rate?
And in total, just to kind of provide context here, Nebraska ranks 21st in total defense this year in the country.
That's
21st. They're tied for 21st with the University of Miami, Florida. They're both allowing 313 total yards per game. And if you look, they're allowing just around 80 yards rushing per contest, and the rest of that's coming from the passing game. So that's where these numbers can somewhat get skewed, because Nebraska, they allowed a lot of passing yards to like a Colorado back earlier this year. But now going forward, they're not going to be able to shift that number a whole lot to then make it balance out, if that makes sense, to where rushing is maybe more applicable in the Big Ten Conference, because that's going to be leaned on more so, right? Nebraska's doing it themselves.
I mean, you could even say if this team that they're going to be playing up next in Purdue, wants to air the ball out, but with how the weather is looking, they probably won't be throwing it a whole bunch. Like they're sort of an air raid offense, but they've leaned on the run a lot more than probably people have expected them to. And again, with the weather the way that it's supposed to be here in Lincoln on Saturday, I don't think that they'll be throwing it around that much.
So, I mean, once again, I mean, just for additional context here, Nebraska ranks 21st in the country in total defense. In stop rate, ranks 36th in the country. Ranks 36th. Out of 80 drives on defense, Nebraska has forced a punt, a turnover, or a turnover on downs 68.8% of the time.
That's not bad.
Which is still, and that's what I'm trying to get at, is there's still notable teams below Nebraska, right? There's North Carolina, who is a top 15 program. Oregon is a top 10 program. Miami is a fringe top 25 team. You have Oregon State, who's a top 15 team. Kansas State, who was last year's Big 12 title.
This kind of makes me upset because it's one of those things where
USC is all the way down at 68th.
Yeah.
Right. So it gives Nebraska fans like this encouragement of Nebraska's defense is going to consistently play well. And their offense, if they can just somewhat figure out some sort of rhythm, Nebraska's program could really get rolling this year, it feels like.
I want to ask everybody, is that more encouraging or frustrating to you? Because to me, that's frustrating. If Nebraska had a semi-competent offense, an average offense, how much better would they be? And again, not to say that they'd be undefeated or anything like that, but if your offense was okay.
Yeah.
And not it's not completely inept, but it's pretty bad.
And part of it's from the injuries, right? Part of it's injuries, but also like even back against Minnesota and Colorado prior to the bulk of these injuries, it's never looked smooth.
No,
it's never looked
very choppy.
Yeah, it's never looked smooth to where we know for a fact what they want to do outside of the quarterback run.
You'll get a play here, a play there. You'll get a couple runs from the running back where you're like, okay, this looks really good. Yeah. And then you'll lose.
Then you'll go away from it.
Then you'll lose 5 yards, and then you'll decide, you know what, we should pass for the next 6 plays.
So once again, 402-464-5685. Just an interesting, and we can update folks on where Nebraska stands in that and where other Big Ten programs stand. Minnesota's below Nebraska. They're sitting in the 50s.
We'll do like a
in terms of this.
We'll do like a stop rate standings every week.
Stop rate update. Something like that. We'll figure it out. But nonetheless, let's take a break. We'll go ahead and be joined by Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese and 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through October 30th are buy a pack of steakhouse burgers and get a pack of hot dogs for free. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week. Plus, don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club or space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margaritas like Maui Wowie, burnt pineapple, and mango tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Experience flexibility like never before with Ace Rent-to-Own. Whether you're decorating a new home or upgrading your electronics, they provide easy payment plan options that suit your budget. No credit checks, no hefty interest rates, just straightforward renting solutions designed with you in mind. Find great options to make a beautifully furnished space or surround yourself with the latest gadgets. With Ace Rent-to-Own, it's all within your grasp. Visit acerentoown.com and bring home more than just a product. Bring home a lifestyle.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
The weather is getting colder, the leaves are falling, and hockey season is back in full effect. Lock in your seats for all 3 Stars games next month for the price of 2 games by purchasing a November package today. You'll get tickets for Military Night on November 4th against Cedar Rapids, the November 17th playoff rematch versus Des Moines, and the Blackout Wednesday game against Tri-City on November 22nd. Don't miss out on 3 great nights at the Icebox. Get your tickets now at LincolnStars.com.
This is Rick Heyman, president of Sartor Heyman Jewelers. My father, Don, always insisted that Sartor Heyman never compromise. Not on quality, not on value, and not on customer service. For that reason, you can be sure that every item of jewelry you purchase from Sartor Heyman is the very best, no matter how small or how large. When it comes to jewelry, if we don't have it, you don't want it. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island, and SartorHeyman.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
October is full of sports, with football and volleyball reaching mid-season and basketball and winter sports starting up. All the excitement of the games brings major stress, and stress causes tight muscles and pain. It's time to call The Body Shop, your place in Lincoln for all types of massages: deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Eliminate the pain from sports watching stress today with a massage at The Body Shop at 48th and A and online at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
So what's this new concept happening at 1040 O Street? There's 93.7 The Ticket, there's The Mill Coffee and Tea, and there's Grandma's Bake Shop and Beatrice Bakery? Well, yeah, it's all of those things. It's a place for the community to hang out, grab a drink and a bite, and just chill, or work, or meet, or chat, or whatever you want to do. 93.7 The Ticket, The Mill Coffee and Tea, Grandma's Bake Shop and Beatrice Bakery, all together at 1040 O Street.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Rico, we've been having that leaf discussion, over the last couple of weeks.
The trees are naked.
Well, here's the deal. So Lincoln has those little street sweepers.
Mm-hmm. They do a good job.
You remember the movie Robots?
Yeah, I love that movie.
The street sweepers?
Yeah. And
every time I see one of those street sweepers sucking up the leaves.
You think of that?
I think of the
You think of Robin Williams' Robot getting sucked up
Maybe.
and then getting taken down to the where they have that cool song where it's like, in the dark, I love that song.
Yes.
It's great.
Shout out to Robots.
I don't know the words. But.
Anyway, let's go ahead and go to the Allo VIP line. VIP line's brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. And we're joined by Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska with us, as we are every Friday. Zach, what's up? How's life treating you?
Oh, large and in charge, baby. That's how we do things around here. It's actually, I mean, it's been another hectic week, but Fridays are starting to feel like Fridays again, where you get a little bit more time to not totally relax, but take it a little easier than most.
Well, Zach, have you seen the movie Robots?
Yeah, go ahead.
Robots with Ewan McGregor as the voice of the main robot.
Yes,
but I saw it in theaters when I was like 10, so I don't remember like any of it. I'll take a movie reference all day.
They put that in theaters.
You didn't? Oh yeah, you're a baby.
I had it on the DVD. I had it on the DVD.
That was back in yesteryear. Those were the good old days when they put movies in only in theaters, and then you get the DVD release like 3 months after it's done playing.
Yeah, you had to wait forever for it to come out. Now you just get it on streaming the next day.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, Zach. Hey, so Nebraska wins.
Wait. Why'd you bring up movie Robot?
Well, Nick, we had the Leaf discussion, and Nick sees little street sweepers in downtown Lincoln, and it reminds him of the movie Robots. And then I started, kind of singing the song from when Robin Williams' robot got sent down to like the underground, and like I don't know the words, but I just know it's like, and I know you know.
That was a deep cut for the Robots reference. But I mean, I throw in like very obscure movie references in my stories all the time. I'm like, this is for the two people that know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, people know.
Exactly. Anyway, all right, so we're joined by Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. Zach, Nebraska wins an ugly game last week, 17-9, but a win is a win. I guess just what were your kind of takeaways from that Northwestern game? And then also, I guess, just knowing what we know now regarding injuries and stuff going into Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Rule said everything that I feel like I was personally, I guess, hoping that he would say at the press conference afterward, and then reiterated some of that same stuff on Monday of like, it was a win. Like, we're 4-3 now.
Mm-hmm.
We probably shouldn't be 4-3. That he sort of touched on that yesterday on Thursday in his lightning round. Like, we're 4-3, we're -8 in turnover margin. Like, that's stupid is what he said. That's stupid. That's a little absurd to be at that mark, but this team is doing what it has not in the past. It's finding ways to win. That's the number one takeaway, the most important thing coming out of that game going forward, because it felt like the Illinois game was, I labeled it the ultimate swing game for both teams. Nebraska wins that one, but then it's like, all right, what do you got for me now? Like, what have you done lately? What are you going to do against Northwestern, a team coming in where you're a double-digit favorite at home against a team that you've had trouble putting away in the past? They're, I think, 3-6 in the last 9 going into the Northwestern game, and they won a 1-score game. That's the other thing, is there's so many other storylines and notes, observations, stats, and stuff that I was going through, and it super randomly on Tuesday night, it just hit me like, oh wait, that's right, that was a 1-score game. Nebraska won a 1-score game, so now they're 3-14 in 1-score games. So since the start of the 2021 season, but more importantly than that, they are now 1-1 in 1-score games with Rule at the helm. So I thought it showed growth for where this program's at, just even from the start of the year, where they lost that game against Minnesota, and you heard that from Rule after the game, like, this is a game I didn't think we would win at the start of the year, and we didn't. So that's the most important takeaways. And then what did you ask about the injury?
Well, I guess let's continue building off of that, because that's interesting. I find out when just talking to fans and gathering information from like our text line and things like that Husker fans are in this weird area or space to where they kind of have this confidence of that Nebraska's going to go out and kind of just do some of the little things correctly. Like in years past, it was like that feeling of, all right, you did it against Illinois. Now let's see if whatever happens next week against so-and-so, or you did it against Purdue. Let's see what happens against Northwestern, because that's a game that you should win, but you're probably not going to, because you always find a way to lose. It feels like that switch is slowly starting to flip in favor of Nebraska, though.
That's the feeling, the sense I'm getting. I mean, I know it's been just 2 games of that, but we saw that first sort of turning point against NIU when you go down, you kill it with a 6-play efficient offensive drive, up 7-0, get the ball back right away, and then you fumble it inside your own 10. It's like, oh my God, like, of course, like, here we go again. And then the defense steps up. The defense steps up and forces them into a field goal, and that was the first, I think, real sign of progress. And then you saw again Louisiana Tech, the 4th and 1 stand on the quarterback sneak, and then things turn from there. You have the Michigan blowout loss. It's like, okay, what's going to happen from here? But then you have that Sunday night practice. The fact that Rule did that, like the fact that they had such a physical, exhausting practice the day after the getting physically manhandled by Michigan, it's like, okay, this is a calculated risk and it could go one of 2 ways, and that's why that Illinois game was so important. Well, they put a bunch of importance on that game. They won that game, and you see turning points there too. That goal line stand. And finding a way to win because the defense stepped up. They didn't play afraid to lose, and they didn't. You're starting to see this team learn how to win, and that Northwestern game is just the latest example of that. Like, we see all these little turning points, these little moments that are sort of, in my eyes, adding up to the bigger picture of we could be looking back in 2-3 years if Nebraska and Rule keeps taking this to new heights. Like, we'll look back at some of these moments like, all right, that was a turning corner. That was a turning corner. That was a turning corner. It all adds up. So that's what I think fans should be excited, because you're seeing it. You're seeing growth points in multiple areas, and not like you're winning games on the seat of your pants, like with only luck plays. Like you're actually fighting through adversity and pulling these out.
We're speaking to Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska on the Allo VIP line here. VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Now, Zack, I guess looking now tomorrow to the matchup against Purdue, the spread, if you want to look at that, is around the 2.5 mark. It's going to be a gross weather type of game, like 35 degrees and potential rain or snow mix, whatever they want to call it. I mean, Nebraska's going to have to run the ball to find success, I think, in this game, and they might be able to against Purdue. But also from Nebraska's defensive standpoint, this shapes up relatively well, because Purdue's going to somewhat have to run the ball as well tomorrow, which goes right into the hands of Nebraska's defensive strengths.
Yeah, Purdue's good at running the ball. I mean, you hear air raid, and the offense Purdue runs air raid system by Graham Harrell, and you see air raid, and then you see that Graham Harrell from Texas Tech is the quarterback, and you're like, okay, they're going to throw it 60 times, but that's not really the case. But if Nebraska can stand on its run defense like it has, I mean, Northwestern had the big run for 39 yards, but it had all those sacks, the 8 sacks, but also count toward the rushing total. So one way or another, I mean, things are skewed a little bit with I think it's 86 rushing yards allowed, but still, I mean, every team but Michigan, they've held to under 90 rushing yards this season. So what Nebraska's been doing, as I think everybody knows, is making every team except Michigan one-dimensional, and taking away the run game and having them rely on the pass. But them relying on the pass has at times been fruitful for opposing offenses. So if you can do that against Purdue and make them one-dimensional and rely on the pass, then yeah, you could have some success. But if the weather's going to be this big of a factor, if it's going to be like we anticipate, then and I think that bodes very well for Nebraska. If the passing game is hampered so much by the weather, and you're already making them one-dimensional by making them pass the ball, then they're zero-dimensional on offense, which maybe you don't see that for an entire game, like over the course of the entire 60 minutes, but mean, I think if the weather's that sloppy, then I think it plays in the hands of Nebraska.
It's one of the guys that might be getting forgotten by some Husker fans is Marquise Buford. Marquise Buford been banged up this entire season from an injury that he suffered last year, but seems to be close to the verge of making a comeback. I mean, talk about the value in not only maybe in a time where Deshaun Singleton is banged up and might not be fully healthy since the Michigan game, to where now you have an experienced guy in Marquise Buford coming back, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe next week, to where you have that redshirt possibility with the 4 games.
Nick, I can tell you read some of my stuff by asking that question, huh?
Yeah.
You write good stuff.
Yeah.
I can tell now that you don't read my stuff based on that.
That's not true either. I have to keep it a mystery. What are your thoughts on Marquise Buford?
Yeah, in my Monday upon further review column I do every week after the game, like I wrote a little bit about Marquise because I mean, not only was he going through pregame warm-ups before Northwestern, and he was just doing pregame warm-ups sort of, I think, just to get back in the routine and all and those sorts of things. But when Omar Brown and Malcolm Hartzog both had those chase down tackles, it reminded me of the North Dakota game last year, where Buford had a similar play where he didn't give up and he tracked down the North Dakota running back and saved a touchdown. It was 17-7 in the third quarter. That could have been a 60, 70-yard touchdown, whatever it was, but he brought him down inside the 10 and lived to fight another down. And Buford actually, on 3rd and goal, a couple plays later, had a pass breakup to force a field goal. So instead of 17-7 or 17-14, it was 17-10, and you saved 4 points right there. And that's exactly what Omar Brown and Hartzog did. Saving 4 points each adds up to 8 points, and we won the game by 8 points, as Luke Reimer said earlier this week. So that those plays reminded me of that, and I wrote about that on Monday. And then Tuesday, Tony White talks about getting Buford back, and how much of an impact that could be. And I was like, okay, yeah, so I'm not crazy. Like, getting him back could be a big deal.
Yeah.
And you heard it from him. Like, now that they've seen more and more of him, he's one of those guys who it sounds like can do what Matt Rule has been wanting this defense to do. He talked about it yesterday. He talked about it on Tuesday. Like, we need takeaways. Like, we need this defense to take a next step and take the ball away. And that's what White talked about with Buford. Like, that's sort of the thing that one of the big value pieces that he could add is he's got great vision. He sees the game well back there. And if he's seeing the play and then he's going and tracking the ball, he said he's going to catch it. Like, he's going to intercept it. And you're looking for playmakers, looking for guys who can take the ball away on defense specifically. And it sounds like you could have that in Buford if he comes back and he gets the speed under him. And whether it's for this year or whether it's for next year, I think that's a big valuable piece to get back in a defense that, like, that's the main thing that's really missing to make this like a just total juggernaut defense.
All right, Zach, last one before we go ahead and let you go. Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska hanging out with us. Nebraska loses out on one of their commits from yesterday. Kawan Lacey is no longer part of Nebraska's class. This is something that I think a few of us maybe saw coming over the last couple of weeks just through the grapevine and things like that. But ultimately, what does this mean for Nebraska and I guess the future of Nebraska's running back class and I guess the way you view how Nebraska needs to attack this running back class going forward here?
Yeah, well, Lacey is a guy who he started exploding his senior season. Like, he's been a fast riser down there in Texas, and he just seemed to be like such an ideal fit for this Nebraska offense and for the offense what it is now, but where it wants to go next season and the seasons to come, because he had that combination of size and speed. I mean, he's a 4.4 40 guy, 6 foot, 205 pounds, who can bench press 315, squat almost 300. He's a senior in high school. So he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run hard between the tackles. And he seemed like a guy who could flourish in this offense and take it to help them take a next step. And felt like he could potentially do it right away his first year on campus. So now in the current running backs room, you hope Gabe Irvin comes back healthy. You hope Emmett Johnson continues to progress, and hopefully you get some more growth out of Quentin Ives, who hopefully can come in next year and have a bigger role as he continues to adjust in his freshman year. But you're gonna have to turn to you're gonna have to either go to the portal, might have to flip a guy in the running backs class, because they don't have any other running back, like pure running backs in the 2024 class. But you run down the commitment list. I'm not sure who it would be, but given Rule and this staff's like propensity to spend some time evaluating guys in person in practice and in their film, it'd say, hey, we think you could try here. Like, we think you might be a good corner if you're Jeremiah Charles or Bryce Turner, turning them from receiver into a DB. Like, I'm sure that their brains are going to be cooking if they don't wind up getting another pure running back in that class, to say, like, all right, once they get to campus, we're going to find out what they can be, and maybe we see a position switch for one of those guys in the class. Who knows? I mean, I don't have a specific candidate for that yet, but I mean, I don't think that we should take that off the table entirely based on what we've seen.
Well, Zach, I guess one more, because it came into my mind. I guess over halfway through the season, if you had to put one position that this staff needs to go into the transfer portal for, what room is that?
Oh, receiver still. I would still now after Lacey's decommitment, running back would be up there, but I still think receiver is number one, even though you have these guys who are developing, just because I've mentioned this before. Marcus Satterfield at South Carolina, he was the OC for 2 years in 21 and 22. Well, 21's offense was putrid, and then the 22 offense started taking some steps later in the year, obviously in the Tennessee and Clemson games, but they're much better than the offense was much better, especially in the passing game and in his second year. And I mean, they took, I think it was 4 pass catchers. I think they took 3 receivers and a tight end in their transfer portal class, and one of them hit big in Antoine Wells, Juice Wells. He wound up putting up a bunch of numbers and helping that offense evolve. I mean, his numbers were close to the same marks that Trey Palmer had last year at Nebraska, and Trey broke records for Nebraska single season receiving. So you saw how a transfer receiver affected things there. I think that's I still think they need to take at least one receiver in the portal market in December, January.
All right. Well, Zach, we appreciate the time as always, man, and stay warm out there. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. I'll see you guys out there Saturday.
There he is, Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. Appreciate his time as always for joining us on the Allo VIP line. VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. All right, it's 1:55 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and we know what that means. It's time for the weekend's picks. It's no financial advice. We take the spreads off of ESPN.com. There's no sports book involved. It's just a friendly competition between us hosts and you guys. If you want to participate, hang out with us, and send in your picks, you're more than welcome as well. We do have Austin's picks. We do have Strick's picks. And now it's time for me and Rico's picks when we come back on Weekend Picks, coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300. If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Everybody wants a classic Christmas. Well, there's nothing more classic than cash. So until January 3rd, 2024, enter non-winning Nebraska Lottery Holiday Classic scratch tickets online, and you could win $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. Hurry and jingle all the way to your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and have yourself a classic little Christmas with the whole family of Holiday Classic scratch tickets. Top prize odds vary by game. We've got some universally big news for Nebraska Pick 5 fans. The prize for matching 4 of 5 numbers has risen from $450 to $500. Visit your favorite Nebraska Lottery retailer today. Pick 5 numbers between 1 and 40 or ask for a Nebraska Pick 5 Quick Pick. Match 4 numbers and you could win $500. Each play only costs $1 and there are drawings 7 days a week. It's just another way our game is getting better all the time. Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
What is Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union? It's more. More earning, more freedom, more rewards. With Kasasa Cash, you earn up to 5.5% APY, and your rewards begin instantly from a penny up to $40,000, all without monthly service fees. Plus, Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union gives you more ATMs nationwide. When you want more, you want Kasasa Cash. Visit libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Account qualifications apply.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Discovery Days will give you the opportunity to experience SCC firsthand this fall. Discovery Days provide information about SCC's programs of study, how to pay for college, SCC support services, housing, activities, and more. A campus tour and lunch are provided. See your options at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get all of your favorite restaurants delivered with VenueDelivered.com. One place for ordering delicious appetizers, refreshing salads, hot entrees, fresh sandwiches, and more. From Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, and all Lincoln Good Sense Subs locations. Download our phone app to earn rewards on all of your carryout and delivery orders. Available on Apple and Android, just search for the Pillar Restaurants app. That's the Pillar Restaurants app. Download today.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. Some cloud cover this morning will give way to sunshine later on today. Otherwise, it'll be breezy or chilly. See a high of just 45. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies expected with a low of around 29. Tomorrow, a chance of rain and snow taking place throughout the day. A high around 39. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I don't believe you people.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick here, Rico there. It is that time. Did we get the legal ID in, Rico?
We can in 1 second.
I'll just verbally say it just for the sake of time. You're listening to KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. All right. I think we should be able to do this here. You ready to get rolling? A little weekend pick action?
1 second, because there's something I have to play. If I can find where is it at? Oh, maybe I didn't save it right. Sad. Okay, whatever.
What is it?
It was the robot song.
Oh, okay. We need to go play that. Go save it. Go figure it out, and I'll just pass time.
Okay. Oh wait, no, there it is. It was just taking a second to load up. Okay, here we go. Okay, because I just needed this.
So time out.
Okay.
So for context, this is the song from Robots, because earlier in the show, if you're just now joining us, I told Rico that every time I see the street sweepers downtown Lincoln picking up the leaves, I think of the street sweeper in Robots, the movie. And then he brought this song up. This is bringing back so many memories. I might have to watch. All right. Well, it looks like I found my weekend movie, and it might have to be Robots.
Oh, that's such a good song, and it's such a good movie.
Anyway, great movie. Yeah, once again, Robots. All right, it's time for weekend picks. Get your pad and paper out, ready to write these down. Do not take these for financial advice. Let's hit it. There it is. What do you know? I need to pull out Austin's picks here. We're gonna get Strix in the next segment.
Okay.
But here, let me pull out Austin's. Okay. Here we go. Let's start here. This is going to be a conflict of interest for you, Rico. These are going to be real quick weekend picks because it's you and I. Okay. Really quickly. Number 8, Oregon travels to number 13, Utah.
Oh, no.
This is going to be tough for you.
Oh, no.
This kicks off at 2:30 p.m. on Fox. Oregon is a 6.5-point favorite. Are you going with Bo Nix or are you going with Utah?
Oh, no. I forgot they had to play each other this year. Utah doesn't have Cam Rising, and that really hurts. Their defense is still pretty good, but I think that Oregon is pretty well-rounded, and Bo Nix is playing in like 80 college games.
20 touchdowns, 1 INT this year for Bo Nix.
I think I might have to go with Bo Nix in Oregon because that's the only way that he has a chance to win the Heisman is to keep winning.
Austin is going with Utah to cover the 6.5.
Of course he is.
I am also taking Oregon, though. All right, moving on. Number 3, Ohio State travels to Wisconsin. This is the night game on NBC at 6:30 p.m. Ohio State is a 14.5-point favorite.
14.5 is a lot. Wisconsin's not great, but they're not terrible. I think Ohio State does just enough to cover that 14, though.
I'm going to take Ohio State by 14.5 as well. Rico, you take them. Austin's taking the Badgers.
Of course.
All right. Moving on.
Austin doesn't like 2 touchdown favorites in Power 5 versus Power 5 games.
No, he doesn't.
Like it.
Moving on. This is a matchup of 2 6-1 teams. Actually, let's skip this one. Timeout. We're going to go to an 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox. This is big noon.
Early games.
Number 9, Oklahoma travels to Lawrence to face off against the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas starting backup quarterback Jason Bean this week for the Jayhawks against the Sooners.
Mr. Bean.
The Sooners are a 9-point favorite.
Oklahoma looks real good this season, and I think I'm going to have to lean with the Sooners.
How about this? I'm going to take Oklahoma too. Austin is super locking Kansas.
Really? Wow.
So there you go.
With Mr. Bean at quarterback.
Yeah, with Mr. Bean. Okay. In the 9:30 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1,
This is a great game.
This is a matchup of 2 6-1 overall teams.
Okay.
UNLV travels to Fresno State. Fresno State is an 8.5-point favorite.
8.5 for 6-1 teams? Oh, buddy. I like Fresno State. They have that weird.
You like Fresno State?
Yeah, they have that weird green V on the back of their helmets.
Okay.
I don't know what it's for, but I like it.
Rico, I don't like this. We have picked the same exact games.
You are gonna have a bad week, my friend.
But how about this? Austin.
Nick has candy in his mouth.
I do. I have a mint in my mouth. Austin. It's one of the lifesaver ones that you can't. Anyway, Austin.
You sound like Sid the Slot.
Austin.
Not good enough for Sid the Slot.
He picks UNLV to cover the 8.5. So us two have picked the same exact teams. Austin has picked every other team so far.
Oh, look at Dandy.
Thank you.
Must be the last one of the season.
Anyway, okay. The Jets. The worst part is it got stuck in between my teeth. So when I tried to bite down to start talking, Anyway, so going to the NFL. The New York Jets travel not very far to play the New York Giants. They're at the same stadium.
Not traveling at all.
They got to go to the visitors' locker room. The Giants are a 3-point underdog to the Jets.
The Giants are terrible. The Jets are also terrible, but have a better defense. I don't like Zach Wilson, but I like the Jets' defense.
Okay. I'm going to take the Giants, and Austin takes the Jets. Patriots at the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Okay, 9.5-point favorites, Dolphins, and Austin takes the Dolphins as well.
You taking the Pats?
I'm taking the Dolphins.
Good choice. Smart choice.
The Texans at the Panthers. The Texans are a 3-point favorite in this matchup of picks number 1 and 2.
Yeah, the Panthers are terrible with or without Matt Rule. So give me CJ Stroud and the Texans. Give me Will Anderson and the Texans.
It's a clean sweep. All three of us taking the Texans there. All right, continue moving on. We got 2 more NFL games before we do the Husker game. Chiefs at the Broncos. The Broncos are at home. This is a kickoff of 3:25 p.m. on CBS. The Chiefs are a 7-point favorite.
The Broncos can't beat the Chiefs in what? Is it 21 straight games or something like that?
I think it's 18.
It's just a disgusting amount of games, and it's going to continue. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And Taylor Swift.
We're all taking the Chiefs. Moving on, Sunday Night Football. The Bears travel to the Chargers. The Chargers are an 8.5-point favorite on Sunday night.
Justin Herbert is overrated, but the Chargers are better than the Bears. Give me Los Angeles.
Okay. How about this? Austin and I take the Bears.
Bears.
There you go. Thank you. All right. Cut the music.
Wait, I have to go to here.
There it is. At 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, Fox Sports 1, Purdue travels to Lincoln to face off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska is a 2.5-point favorite.
Nebraska's offense is bad. Purdue wants to pass, is decent at running. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a lot of running. Nebraska, I think, is better at running and defending the run. So give me Nebraska to cover against Purdue, win the game. Hard score to predict. Give me 20-14.
What would you like to super lock?
I don't know. Super lock.
Do you feel good about the Chiefs?
You know what? Just because it's funny, super lock the Dolphins over the Patriots.
Okay. Super lock the Dolphins by 9.5.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anything here. Actually, lies. Super lock Oklahoma over Kansas.
Okay, there you go. That's a better one. So how about that? So one of you guys is going to lose out on 2 points there. Either Austin or Rico. I'm also going to take Nebraska to cover. I'm actually going to super lock Nebraska to cover the 2.5. I think there's a way where Nebraska, even if they play poor, I mean, you just have to win by a field goal here at this point. So, how about this? Austin is taking the Boilermakers.
Wow.
Austin has taken the Boilermakers. He chooses Purdue to cover the 2.5-point underdog spread against
So does
the
Nebraska
Nebraska
win by
Cornhuskers.
1, or does Purdue win? Did he say?
He did not say.
I'm just going to take it as he thinks Purdue's going to win because how dare he?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I wanted to do this. How about we're going to set this line, side bet.
Side bet.
Heinrich Harburg.
Oh, no.
Over under 13.5 passes. Over under 13.5 pass attempts.
Over.
You know what? I'm gonna switch that number to 14.5.
I was gonna say he's gonna have 15
pass attempts.
Over.
Okay. I'm gonna take.
I think they're gonna be running it so much that they're gonna have to pass it at some point. This 15's not a lot.
He's averaging about 17.5.
I know. 15's not a lot.
I'm gonna take. What if I switch it to 15.5?
I don't like that then.
I'm gonna go 15.5.
I hate you so much.
I'm gonna go 15.5. I'm gonna say under on that.
Under on that.
You think right at 15?
I think he's getting. I think 15.
Okay. All right. So there it is. There's our weekend picks. All right, we got about a minute left here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us as well as always. Good stuff all week long. Make sure you tune into Husker Sports this weekend. Obviously, Husker football tomorrow, Husker volleyball tonight against Maryland.
They're playing a Maryland team that just snapped a 4-game losing streak. They beat Iowa 3-1. So they're coming in off of a win, but still not the hottest team in the land.
So there you go. Also, make sure you cheer on Husker soccer on Sunday at 1 p.m. It's the Big Ten tournament quarterfinals against Ohio State, your top 25 program and co-Big Ten regular season champs, the Nebraska soccer team. So plenty of stuff to cheer on. Make sure you head out to PBA as well. A little bit of exhibition action this weekend for the Husker basketball team. So make sure you tune in and cheer on the Huskers all weekend long. Don't go anywhere. Myself and E. Strick joining you on the block. But that'll do it for the happy hour. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Adios.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.